everybody. Welcome to the first Glen Kuiper edition of the Glen Kuiper Show edition of 2026. We have moved on from 2025. We've put it behind us, and it's time to move forward into 2026. So this is our first show of the year. We're going to have 3 shows this week, tonight, Wednesday, and Friday as we get rolling. Before you know it, spring training is going to be here, so we got a lot to talk about tonight. Baseball, we're going to talk about the Niners and the NFL playoff picture. So a lot to cover as always. And as always, I want you guys involved with your opinions, with your questions, with your comments about what we're going to talk about tonight. It has to do with that Giants starting rotation. Are you guys happy with it? A lot of people aren't happy with it, but I got a couple thoughts on that. So anyways, we'll get going with that in just a little bit. But as always, we're going to hear from our sponsors first and foremost, starting with Tilden Properties. By investing in California's multifamily real estate with Tilden Properties, you'll see quarterly dividends and equity buildup in the real estate market. Bay Area-based family-owned Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008, and really, isn't that what you want? For more information, contact Tilden Properties at 925-209-8558. We're also brought to you by the Carrick Real Estate Team, who have been helping families buy and sell homes across the Bay Area with a legacy of client-first service since 1978. Whether you're in the market to buy or sell, trust the Carrick Real Estate Team to guide you home. Contact Mike Carrick today for a free home or purchase or home sale or purchase consultation. Call Mike at 925-548-4132. And we're also brought to you by the good folks at Partners Capital LLC, a wealth management firm providing financial strategies for elite performance and lasting peace of mind. With experience guiding professional athletes and the families next door, Partners Capital delivers thoughtful planning, steady guidance, and a clear path forward. Partners Capital, your partner for a stronger financial future. Call them at 1-888-702-7743. And lastly, we're brought to you by Area Rug Cleaning Direct, a subsidiary of Gamble's Flooring. If your area rug needs professional cleaning and repair, Area Rug Cleaning Direct will pick it up and return your area rug looking brand new within 5 business days. Family owned and proudly serving the Bay Area for over 35 years. Call Area Rug Cleaning Direct at 925-933-9999 for all your area rug needs. Thanks to all the sponsors. As always, couldn't do it without them, and we appreciate them each and every show. So, all right, so let's get started, folks. Again, I'm counting about 5.5 weeks until spring training, so things are happening fast. 7.5 or maybe 7 weeks to the first game. Again, I'm kind of guessing, looking at the calendar a little bit, but we do know that first spring training game is February 21st. Can you believe that? So it's going to be lots of fun. I can't wait for spring training. I'm looking forward to it big time. And as always, it will be here before you know it. Next week, it's going to be fun. I'm going to head down to Scottsdale, and I'm going to work the Giants fantasy camp. I know a lot of you have heard about the fantasy camp. What the heck is that all about? Well, you get guys paying money to come on down, and they get treated like a big leaguer for 1 week. They play games every day. There's coaches that are former Giants players, JT Snow, FP Santangelo, Dave Dravecki, Jeffrey Leonard, George Contos, Jeremy Affelt, Travis Ishikawa. I don't want to miss anybody. Rich Murray, who was a Giant back in the 80s, he's there. So I don't want to make sure I miss anybody, but those are the coaches that will be there. They coach the teams. There's about 11 guys on a team. This year we're expecting about 65, 66 campers, which is a great number. And they play baseball every day, 2 games a day. So I head down there. I'm technically the commissioner. So that's kind of vaguely defined, but there's kangaroo court, 2 games every day. And it is super fun. If you ever get a chance, think about going down. It's called the Giants Fantasy Camp. Look it up. Super fun, and it's a lot of fun for us working it as well. So it's a week I'm looking forward to. So I'm heading down there this weekend, and the camp starts Monday morning. Tryouts Monday morning. So any age can show up. Any body type can show up. Any talent level can show up. But that's what the Giants Fantasy Camp is all about. So anyways, just wanted to let you know where I will be next week. But I'm going to try to do a show from down there. Maybe if I have to do it from my hotel room, that's fine too. But kind of have some fun and tell you what's going on. So anyways, that's what's coming up for me. Let's get to the San Francisco Giants, the stories about them, and it's about their starting rotation. They signed another starting pitcher. They said they wanted to find two. They did. Adrian Hauser a couple weeks ago, and Tyler Mahle. In fact, it became official today, but it came out last week. Tyler Mahle, a right-hander, signs a 1-year, $10 million deal. It's Mahle. It's spelled M-A-H-L-E, but it rhymes with rally. So Tyler Mahle is a San Francisco Giant. He's 31 years old, right-hander. He's bounced around a little bit. He's had some success. He's had a lot of injuries. Last year with the Texas Rangers, he made 16 starts. He was really good. He was 6-4. His ERA just a shade over 2, but the injury bug hit him again. That has been an issue for Mahle. If he can stay healthy, he has a chance to be a pretty good pitcher for the Giants. I think his style kind of fits. He and Hauser are somewhat similar, but 2022, he made only 19 starts, and then in 23, 5 starts, in 24, 3 starts. So again, trouble staying healthy. That will be the biggest thing to watch for when it comes to the new Giant starter, Tyler Mahle. Give me your thoughts on what you think. I know Giants fans, they wanted a big splash pitching-wise. It didn't happen. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a couple thoughts on that in just a little bit. But it's Adrian Hauser, Tyler Mahle, the two new starting pitchers for the Giants to go with, of course, Landon Roop and Robbie Ray and Logan Webb. So, again, I don't know how the Giants fans feel about that. Give me your thoughts. Give me your comments. Let me know what you think about my feelings on this. But that's probably going to be your five go-to guys. I don't know that I necessarily see the Giants doing anything else from a pitching perspective, but you never know. You keep your eyes open for a possible trade. There are some good pitchers still out there, whether it be free agent or whether it be a trade candidate. But I just don't know that they'll make any more moves from a starting pitcher standpoint. Now, you may say, well why? Why didn't they go out and sign one of these big free agents? Well, I have a couple thoughts on that. And I understand. I think we would all love to. Hey, it would be great to have Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez, right? It'd be great to have those guys. But again, I mean, there's cost that you need to take into play. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but it's reality. But here's the guy I want to talk about. Tatsuya Amai, okay, the right-hander from Japan. And I've been thinking a lot about this. Remember when his name came out, he was posting, he wanted to come to the major leagues. And everybody leaped on this. Giants fans leaped on this. Amai is the guy. He's 27. He's a perfect number 2 starter. He's 27 years old. He's young. He said he wants to beat the Dodgers. This is the guy for the Giants. Perfect, right? Predictions started coming out. And again, these are just predictions. They're random, sometimes random people making predictions. Really, you don't know till the market starts to see what it starts to move a little bit and maybe not move in this case. But there was predictions going out as soon as Amai posted and said, I'm coming to the big leagues. I'm a free agent. Anybody can sign me. There was 8 years, $190 million. There was 7 years, 150. There was 5 years, 150. There was from anywhere from 5, 6, 7, 8-year deals from $100 million to as high as $190 million as predictions for Amai's contract, which to me is crazy, right? I mean, but that's what people really thought. They were people in the baseball business, smart people who cover this stuff, like we all do, like I do. But here's the thing. So that went on for probably a month, right? Just prediction, who's going to get him, and the Giants are leading the race for this guy, which nobody knows. Nobody knows. The only people that know are in the Giants front office where they're at with this guy. They may not have ever been interested in him. Okay. But here's what I'm getting at. And stay with me here. Once the process started with Amai, And when I say process, I mean, okay, let's see. Let's see who's making the offers to this guy. Let's see where he ends up going. Now, remember, every team has scouted this guy. You don't, I mean, he's a talented pitcher, right? Whatever country he's from, he's a talented pitcher. Every team has scouted him. Every team has seen him pitch at some amount. Every team has talked to all their scouts, and they could be scouts from Japan. Every teams have scouts everywhere, right? So every team has a decent idea about the guy. And I'm not talking about writers. I'm not talking about YouTube people like me. I'm talking about actual scouts who've seen this guy pitch. I'm not going to I never saw him pitch, right? I mean, they're sending guys there to watch this guy pitch. Okay. So every team has scouted him. Every team has their thoughts about him, correct? The big offers never came. Okay. And remember, he had a deadline of January 2nd, which was Friday. The big offers never came. Okay, so what does that tell you? And as it got closer to deadline, you started to hear more about how teams have been unsure about Amai as far as how good he can be. Okay. It started to come out. How teams were viewing him, very uncertain about, is his stuff going to play at the big league level? Okay. So this didn't just happen. They felt this way as soon as he posted because they've seen the guy. When I say they, I'm talking about all the teams. So all these predictions, and the reality is the teams didn't see it that way. I bet front offices were chuckling at this $190 million guess that he was going to get. It never happened. So the point I'm trying to make here, folks, is teams see him or saw him as a number 4 or 5 starter. They did not see him as a number 2 starter. There was significant uncertainty that he would be that good. When I say that good, I mean a legitimate number 2 starter who is 27. He's young, and he deserves a 7 or 8 year contract. It never materialized because teams didn't see him the way everybody outside of the organizations saw him, including fans, okay, including Giants fans, including fans from other teams, said, this is the guy we want. Okay. That deadline comes. And when you have a deadline, that spurs action because you can say, all right, give me your best offer by Thursday because we're making our decision on Friday. So think about the teams out there that are looking for pitching and are willing to spend if they feel like it's the right guy. Just think about this. The Yankees, they want to sign a pitcher. The Mets, the 2 biggest spenders out there, along with the Dodgers. How involved were they? Right? The Cubs, the Giants, the Angels have money. The Red Sox, the Padres, the Orioles are dying for another starting pitcher. Where were they in this whole thing? The Rangers spend money. They've shown it the last 3-4 years. They'll spend money. They always need pitching. Where were they? So where were all these teams that some of them, most of them have shown they will spend money if it's the right guy? Where were they? Where they were is they didn't see this guy, Amai, as a number 2 $150 million guy. None of them. Otherwise, they would have made the offer. Okay? So the Houston Astros come along and they grab him with a 3-year, $63 million contract, give or take a little bit. There's a bonus involved and there's different money spread around, but so it's $21 million per year. Here's the kicker. There's an opt-out after the first year, and there's an opt-out after the second year. Some teams shy away from the opt-out. They don't like it. They don't want it. I don't know how the Giants feel about it. I have a feeling, knowing the guys that are running the baseball, that they're not big fans of the opt-out. Okay? But think about this. He can opt out after every year. And on top of the guaranteed money, right? Because it's the $63 million is guaranteed. So we'll get to that. There's also a posting fee. You sign somebody from Japan, an international player. There's a posting fee. So you have to pay Amai's team from Japan a posting fee. In this case, the number I saw was $9.9 million. That's just, here you go. Here's the check for his team in Japan. $9.9 million. Well, that's right out of your pocketbook, right? So these type of deals are not good deals for the teams. They're great deals for the players, right? Think about this. If he has a good year, let's say Amai has a good year, and he very well may. I hope he does. I hope he does great. Let's say he has a good year. He's going to opt out because he's going to want a bigger contract. He's going to show people, hey, I'm pretty good. And he'll opt out and he'll get a bigger contract. So if you're the Astros, if he is good, if he's a high quality starter, you're only going to have him 1 year. Now, if he's good that 1 year, good for the Astros. But here's the problem. If he has a so-so year, or maybe he's not the guy you thought he was, maybe he is a 4 or 5 starter. Maybe he's not a 3 or a 2. Okay? Well, what happens then? Or maybe he gets injured. We don't want him to get injured, but it's a possibility. But the point is maybe he's not a number 2. Maybe he's a 4 or 5. Okay, so maybe he has an okay year. Nothing great. Well, then he doesn't opt out. And then he's going to get the second year of the contract at $21 million. Okay, so my point is this, it's a great contract if you're a player, because if you're good, you opt out and you're going to get a bigger contract from somebody because you're going to go back into the free agent market. If you're not good, you just don't opt out. You opt in and you get paid the next year and you get paid the year after that. That's a good deal for a player. You have 1 year to prove yourself. And if you do prove yourself to be a high quality starter, you're going to get an even bigger payday. If you prove that you're not a big time starter, you're going to get paid for 2 more years at $21 million a year. How is that a good deal for the team? It's a good deal for the player. Okay. So he's basically, even if he's not great, and again, I'm not wishing this on him. I'm just explaining the situation of why there's a reason why people backed out on this guy. They weren't sold on him. Okay. I said they weren't sold on him being a front of the rotation starter. Otherwise, these teams would have all been in there. The Yankees would have been in there. The Mets would have been in there, right? But they weren't. Okay. So, but he's guaranteed for sure $63 million. No matter how he pitches, he's going to get $63 million. And if he's good in that first year, he's going to get more. If he's not great, he's still going to get $63 million over 3 years. That's a pretty good deal. What do you guys think about that? Do you understand my point here? And I know Giants fans they were like, Amai's the guy, man. He is the guy. And it turns out, I don't know that the Giants ever felt like he was that solid number 2 that they need. And listen, just for fun, let's do this year. And I will keep an eye on it. Let's just see how Hauser does. Let's see how Mahle does, and let's see how Amai does. Let's I guess compare them a little bit. I don't know, but let's just keep an eye on the two guys the Giants signed, uh, who need to stay healthy, and they need to take advantage of the Giants ballpark. And there's question marks around these two guys. There's no question about it. But there's question marks around a guy that everybody wanted for the Giants, and all of a sudden the deals weren't there for him. He ended up getting 63 million guaranteed. That's nothing to scoff at. But that's a good deal for the player, not a great deal if you're the team. So let's do that. As this year goes on, when the season starts and we roll in and we're having fun with the shows, and we'll see what's going on with the Giants. Let's keep an eye on how the pitcher that everybody wanted the Giants to get, Amai, and let's see how he's doing compared to the two guys the Giants did sign, who everybody's sort of like, okay, let's find out. Let's see. So that's my first point on the Giants signing these two guys. I don't think they felt that the big money was what they wanted to do with Amai. And they probably feel that way about the other free agent starters that are going to get big money as well. But so I want to get your comments on that situation, and then I'll go to my second thought on what I think the Giants are kind of thinking with this starting rotation. So I'm going to check on some comments as always. You guys have been great. Okay. Let's see. Let's get started here. I'm not happy with it, but if they sign a big-time bat in the outfield, I can live with the pitching. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think a lot of people probably feel that way. Bake That Dough checking in. Bake That Dough, how are you? Happy New Year. Time needs to slow down a little bit. Giants still have some work to do. Okay. All right. Remember, get your comments and questions in like you guys always do. Giants shopping for bargains, same as the last several years. Well, I don't know. I mean, they jumped on they jumped on Adames last year for 182 million. That is not bargain shopping. And I know we always go back to this, but it's true. And I don't think picking up a guy with $250 million left on his contract is bargain shopping either. They do bargain shop sometimes, absolutely. But I wouldn't say same as the last several years. I don't know that I would, I don't know that I would completely agree with that. But I think that is, kind of the way a lot of Giants fans feel. But I think you got to kind of look at the deals that they have done, right? I mean, you got to look at both, right? Why didn't they sign a big name pitcher for 5 years? Ray comes off the books next year. You get 3 big names for a year, and then the salary is break even next year. So a big name pitcher for 5 years. Well, who are they going to get? Framber Valdez. Would you be happy with him? Yeah, sure. Would you be happy with Framber Valdez for 5 years, 150 million? That's just, I'm asking, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'd love to have Framber Valdez. I'd love to give him a 5-year deal. And you're right. Robbie Ray comes off the books. So that's not a terrible idea. Maybe they don't see a guy that they like enough to give $150 million to. You guys may not agree with that. I may not totally agree with that. There may be a guy out there I would give that to, but I don't know that there is. I don't know that there is. I guess is my point. Taylor Jenkins says, happy to hear you have a strong role in the organization. Well, I don't know about that, but we're trying. I agree with not signing Amai. If you're going to spend big bucks, get someone who has done it before. I think that's fair. And I think that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. And if I didn't make it clear, I apologize. I think if you're going to dole out that kind of money, I think you need to be sure. And that's the point I was making the whole last minute. I don't think teams were sure or are sure about Amai being a Because when he came out, oh, he's a number 2. He's definitely, and then all of a sudden, that's not the way teams felt. Teams scouted him a lot and didn't see that. Okay. So I think that's, maybe I didn't explain it as well as I could, but that's sort of my point. Current Boris clients are Bregman, Valdez, and Gallen. Yeah, and then you know what? It could be a while. Who knows? From Susan Slusser, the great Susan. So Tyler Mahle comes to the Giants with Bruce Bochy's recommendation. Loves the competitor at him, and that's the way. I'm going to. I want to end this. I want to end the talk about Tyler Mahle, and I missed it, but I did want to bring that up because Bruce Bochy, of course, he's advisor in the Giants organization, and Susan makes a great point. And I know there was an article by Alex Pavlovich in NBC Sports Bay Area website about that. And Susan had it, of course, and what it has to do with is that Bruce Bochy really pushed for the Giants to sign Tyler Mahle. And see, that's interesting to me, okay? Because that's it. You cannot get more insider than Bruce Bochy, the guy who managed Mahle the last 2 years. And he vouched for him at the end of the year, from what I understand and from what I read. And he vouched for him again, big time, that Boch said, this is a guy that I think you need to take a really close look at. Thought he would thrive in San Francisco. Thought he would thrive in the ballpark. And again, Boch had him. He was his manager. Nobody knows more about Mahle than his manager for not 1 year, but 2 years. So I think that is a big deal to me. If Bruce Bochy, and I know Boch a little bit, but I know people who know him very well, and he's honest. When the doors are closed and the Giants baseball people are sitting around, Boch is going to say, I like this guy, or he's going to say, I don't like that guy. I would stay away from him. He's going to be honest with his feelings. That's what makes him great. That's a big deal. If you got a recommendation from Bruce Bochy, his manager for 2 years, that has to hold a lot of dough, for lack of a better phrase. So Bochy likes Mahle. Saw him at his best maybe the first half of last year, where he was really good, and then he got hurt. So I think with this guy, it all comes back to health. But again, thanks for that. Susan had it. Alex Pavlovich had it. And I mean, they're not the only two. It was out there that Boch, pushed for him. So good stuff. Good stuff as always. And thanks for putting that in there. So let's go on to my next thing about the Giants rotation and where they're at. I think these two moves, okay, the two moves of Hauser and Mahle, who are not, I understand, they're not exciting the Giants fans. They're like, okay, a couple of back-end starters. I get it. But these moves tell me this, that the Giants have confidence in their young pitchers. And when I say the young pitchers, I'm talking about this group that we talk about a lot. Okay, it's Blade Tidwell, the right-hander they got from the Mets, who has had good numbers in the minor leagues. The Giants are very high on him. I think he has a chance to be a big league starter, and a good big league starter. And he's right there. I mean, it's probably going to happen this year. He will start some games if he's healthy for the Giants this year at some point. It's Carson Whisenhunt. Where's Whisenhunt? Is Whisenhunt a number 3 guy? Is he a number 5 guy? Is he a trade candidate? Where are we at with him? But the Giants like him, and other teams like him as well. Hayden Birdsong. Okay, we've talked a lot about Birdsong. And him going off the rails last year was a huge setback for the Giants, because he was doing a nice job in the bullpen, but they knew at some point he would get back in the rotation, and he lost it. If this kid takes the next step last year, now you have a bona fide, very strong young starting pitcher. Didn't happen. That's the guy I'm going to watch closely in spring training, is Hayden Birdsong. He has to get back on track. That could be huge. Trevor McDonald, I know he only had a couple starts last year. He looked really good, but I know the Giants like him a lot. You got Carson Seymour, and there's a kid coming, Jacob Bresnahan. He was the California League Pitcher of the Year. Now, he may be a little bit behind these guys, but he's going to move fast. So my point on that is this tells me that the Giants feel good about this group of young starters. They've all pitched in the big leagues at some point, a very small amount. So they got a little taste of it. Could they all use some more seasoning in AAA? Probably. That may be your AAA rotation. Who knows? So I'm looking forward to watching all these young guys in spring training to see if any of them stand up, maybe grab a spot in their rotation, or maybe somebody gets hurt, or when they get called up, they stake their claim in a rotation spot. That's what I'm looking for. And I've said this before. I said it on a show a couple of weeks ago. The best thing that can happen to the Giants organization is to have a couple of these young starters step up and make their presence, take the next step, and be part of the rotation moving forward. That's what you want. I mean, any organization wants that, to have their own young starters take over in the rotation. So you have the depth with that group. I think they're all close to being ready to pitch in the big leagues, if not already there. So that's the situation that I see it in. And I just feel like signing Hauser to a 2-year deal, Mahle to a 1-year deal, that tells me that they feel like they have a couple of these young pitchers that will and can take the next level and be part of the rotation into the future. That's the way that's what their moves kind of tell me at this point. And listen, we don't know how good, we don't know if any of these young kids are going to be good, but they got good stuff, and they've pitched a fair amount in the minor leagues. They're right there. So we'll see what happens. But that's my feeling. I think they like these kids a lot as depth pieces now, and they're going to get an opportunity. And I think they feel like a couple of these guys can stake their claim in the rotation moving forward into the future, whether it be this year, whether it be next year. And then you got young starting pitchers, and that's the greatest thing you can have. And listen, I'm not saying that, there's still not people out there that you could get. Obviously, Valdez and Suarez are the big free agents. I don't think the Giants are going there. I just don't think they want to do that. Now there's guys you could trade if you could try, and I think they have talked to the Brewers about Peralta. He's a legitimate number 2. Okay, these guys that are still there are legitimate number 2s. There's no we think he's number 2, and then it turns out, we don't really know because, and that's the MI situation. But here, Valdez is a 1 or a 2. Suarez is a 2. Peralta is a 1 or a 2. Mackenzie Gore, good young left-hander, he's a 2. Edward Cabrera, the guy with the Marlins, who I know the Giants have liked and talked to them about. He's a young guy, a legitimate number 2 guy. So there are the number 2s out there, as I keep saying. But if you're not sure about how good a guy is, then I just don't think you can dump the big money on somebody if you're unsure. That's what this whole conversation has been about. So anyways, we'll see. But let's do this together when the season starts. Let's just keep an eye on how well Hauser and Mahle are doing compared to maybe Amai, just kind of for fun, just for something to talk about, because there's been so much talk about the Giants should sign the Amai kid who ends up going to Houston. So anyways, he's not a Giant. I don't know how close he was to ever being a Giant, but that's where the Giants are at as far as the starting rotation goes. And, we're going to see what happens. We're just going to go from there. To wrap up the Giants talk, I thought it was kind of cool. I saw today on social media, there's a large contingent of Giants folks, officials, front office people in South Korea to see Jung-Hoo Lee and to promote San Francisco Giants baseball to South Korea, to the people of South Korea. I thought that was pretty cool. Buster Posey's there. The manager, Tony Vitello's there. Willie Adames is there. And they're there to see, they're there to see Jung-Hoo Lee and talk baseball with the South Korean people. But I thought that was pretty cool. And it's not just them. Giants president and CEO Larry Baer is there. There's some front office people there. So they're in South Korea. There's some cool pictures on social media. Willie Adames with Jung-Hoo Lee. And, so I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know how long they're going to be there, but I don't know if it's a little bit of a promotional tour. But again, you're going to see one of your guys, Jung-Hoo Lee, and promote the San Francisco Giants to another country, which, I thought that was kind of cool. And it got me thinking about how important Jung-Hoo Lee is, to this year, but also to the future. And can this guy take the next step? And I say take the next step a lot, but I think you guys know what I mean, right? Can he elevate his game to the next level? He's very talented, right? He learned a lot last year, played the whole season, 150 games, 31 doubles, 12 triples, hit 266. The numbers were okay. He had stretches where he really disappeared. That's going to have to change, but he's 27 years old. It was his first full year at the major league level. That to me is a big deal. So there's a decent chance that you're going to see him go to the next level. Just because, when you come to the big leagues for the first time, there's a lot to learn. And you got to figure out how to play every day. And that first year he got hurt. He only played, 35 games? Well, this year he ground through it, and he played 150 games. I think that was huge. And that's going to be a guy that has a chance to get better all around. I know he needs to be better defensively. He can do more offensively. I think there's more there. So again, it just got me thinking about really how important this guy is to the Giants. Obviously, he signed long-term. We all know that, but there's a lot of talent there. He's a very talented young man with quite a bit of room to improve. And if he can do that, that'll be huge for this team. I think that's a real big thing to watch for and to hope for, is that a guy like that. What Matt Chapman's going to do. You know what Adames is going to do. You know what Devers is going to do. They're all going to put up pretty good numbers. But what you want is a couple guys to take the step. Ramos take the step. Jung-Hoo Lee take the step. If you can get that, then I think you have a chance to be a pretty good team. I really do. Before we move on to the NFL segment, let me check the comments. Let's see. All right, that's a good point here with the big A. The problem with signing the big free agent pitchers is they come with a big penalty. The Giants made the mistake by signing Snell and Chapman. There's some truth to that, Big A. I don't know so much with Chapman, because they did sign him and they re-signed him and they kept him. Okay, so he's at least he's a big part of this team. I think the Snell thing has definitely come back to bite them. I don't think there's any question. They owe him a signing bonus this year of a lot. They gave him a signing bonus, and then they deferred it to this year, and it doesn't show up on your payroll, but you have to pay it, and it's significant. And you lost a couple of draft picks with Snell. Yeah, I do think that there's some truth to it with Snell. I think if Chapman had just played 1 year and left, then it would be worse. But at least Chapman's your third baseman. He's a really good player, and he's going to be here for the next 4 or 5 years. So I think definitely with Snell, I think that's a very good point, because there are penalties, and if you sign Zach Gallen, you're gonna lose 2 draft picks. If you sign Valdez, you're going to lose 2 draft picks, and you're going to lose international signing bonus money. So yeah, there is penalties. And it could be, that's why the Giants are staying away from that. Okay, so let's move on to Cole says the two rotation additions are not exciting for fans. They will mean nothing for the future, which has me hoping for a long-term solution to replace Ray like Ranger or Framber. That's fair. I mean, I think that's fair. I think what the Giants are hoping is one of these young guys that we've been talking about can do that. And that's where my feeling of the Giants having confidence in this young group that one or two of those guys is going to step up. But yeah, somebody's going to have to step in for Robbie Ray. So I think your point is fair. But what I'm saying is I think they're hoping that it's one of those young guys. But we don't know, right? I mean, that's the difference. If you sign Framber Valdez, you got a pretty good idea. He's going to be good for 3 or 4 more years, and he will be able to replace Robbie Ray. You're not sure what you have with the young guys, even though there's some talent. So, yeah, I mean, that's the two ways to look at it. Let's see. Let's go one more here. If Ray has a good season, he probably wants to go to free agency and get his last big payday. Yeah, and he may. Or you know what? Here's the deal, and that's an interesting point. But I think you could also look at it like if Robbie Ray has a good year. Remember, he had surgery. His arm is, what do you want to say? His arm is young. You know, he's got Tommy John surgery. He pitched really well last year, ran out a little gas at the end, I think. But what if he has a really good year? And what if he really likes San Francisco, doesn't want to move again? He already got his big payday, okay? He got $125 million on a 5-year deal. I believe that's what it was. That's his big payday. Okay. So what if he had a good year? And what if the Giants say, hey, we'd like to have you back on a 2-year deal? It's going to cost a lot of money, but you're also getting a really, really good pitcher in Robbie Ray. I don't know. That's not out of the question because he likes it here. I know he does. He's been around a little bit. And he would probably love to stay. I don't know. That'll be an interesting thing to watch for. If Robbie Ray has a really good year, what happens to Robbie Ray? Huh. All right. Hold on. Let me get rid of the comments. Not that there's anything wrong with any of them. In fact, they're pretty good. So I appreciate the guys checking in. But we are going to shift gears, and we're going to shift gears to the NFL. Because, I love doing the NFL segment. And there's a ton to talk about, but we're going to roll through this. Got to start with the Niners and the Eagles. That's the first round matchup. It'll be Sunday at 1:30 here in California. Sunday, 1:30, Niners at the Eagles. Niners are the number 6 seed. Eagles are the number 3 seed. Niners lose on Saturday night. I know nobody wants to talk about that game. If you got any feelings about it, certainly check in. It was it's a huge game, but the Niners just got outplayed. I don't know how deep you could go into it. We all watched the game. They just simply got outplayed. And that forced the Niners the opportunity to maybe get the 1 seed. Well, they drop all the way to the 6th seed. I don't know what stood out. The 18 missed tackles was big. And I what I read today, I thought was interesting. And it makes perfect sense. 18 missed tackles in a game is a lot. And I know that was a number that everybody talked about. But Robert Saleh, great defensive coordinator, he said that tired and I don't want to make sure I get this right, but he said a direct correlation of missing tackles is being tired and being beat up is basically what he said. And I think this Niners team is tired, and I think they're beat up. And, you talk about, well, there's the big injuries, but, they're playing a lot of young people on defense, and this season gets really long for rookies, right? But, again, this is not me saying it. It's your defensive coordinator saying it, that if you're tired and you're banged up, and that's one of the things that happens. You miss tackles. And it sort of makes sense, right, if you just think about it. So that was a thing. And you gotta think now, how much did that game take out of the 49ers? Because you're playing for a 1 seed, right? That's a huge deal. It's a massive game. You're laying it out there. Both teams are. But how much did it take out of the 49ers? That's a little bit of a concern for me. McCaffrey, he wasn't moving quite as well. Williams didn't play. I don't know. It was a very physical game against a very physical team. And, I'm sure both teams got beat up a little bit, but how much can the Niners afford to be any more beat up? If that makes any sense. They do get an extra day off. They played on Saturday, then they play on Sunday. How much is that going to make a difference? I don't know. The Eagles, they lose to Washington. They kind of an interesting thing. They're taking some criticism. They rested a lot of guys. They rested their quarterback Hurts, Barkley, and they rested quite a few of their starters. And what ends up happening is they could have got the number 2 seed, okay? If they would have won and the Bears lose, they get the number 2 seed. Well, the Bears lost, but so did the Eagles, okay? And so some people are like, well, you blew it. You had a chance to get the 2 seed. I guess the point is in the first round, is there a big difference? If you're the Eagles, you would either play the Packers or the Niners, and you get the Niners. I guess the big difference could be you could, if you're the number 2 seed, you could very well get, if you win the first round, you're going to get a second home game. So that's what, but I don't know. They said, hey, let's get some guys healthy over the possibility of slipping to 3, and that possibility happened, but they feel like they're a little more healthy. So they took a little criticism for that. I quite frankly don't blame them. I think the health thing is a big, big deal in the NFL. Guys are so beat up. They're just beat up, man. And if you can give 7 or 8 of your best players an extra week off, I think that's a big deal. I really do. And I think that's a big deal in this game because the Eagles were able to do that, rest a bunch of guys. They lost the game, but they rested a bunch of guys. And the Niners had to go hard on Saturday night, and it was a very, very physical game. I think that right there could be an issue in this game. I do. So what are the Eagles all about? I mean, let's kick that around just a little bit. Okay. They're defending champs. We know that. That's a big deal. So they know what to do this time of year. Statistically, their offense has not been great this year. It's very strange. They got a lot of good players on offense, but they've been kind of funky, right? They haven't looked sharp offensively. They're 24th in the league in total yards offensively. They're 23rd in total passing yards. They're 18th in total running yards, and points per game, they're 19th. So nothing really stands out statistically about them offensively. They got a little bit worse in the second half. Statistically, they were 3-4 in their last 7 games. So I wouldn't say they played great down the stretch. I think for them, it's about their defense. Their defense is really good. Statistically, they're 13th in total yards defensively. They're 8th against passing yards, so that's pretty good. You can run on them. They're 22nd in yards allowed by the run, but points allowed, 19 points a game. That's 5th lowest in the NFL. We've seen their defense enough. They're good. They're good. They get after it. They got a +6 turnover ratio. You're going to be playing in their stadium, which is, a little bit crazy. So what are we thinking about the Niners? Do they have a chance to run the ball against Philadelphia? As I just told them, the numbers, again, these are just team statistics. Do they tell the whole story? No. Do they tell some of the story? Yes. Do the Niners have a chance to run the ball against Philadelphia? Maybe, but McCaffrey's got to be ready to go, and Trent Williams needs to play. Williams didn't play against Seattle. They need him back. I think it's going to be very difficult to hold down the Eagles' front if Trent Williams can't play. That's nothing against the other guys, but Trent Williams is one of the best players in the NFL still. That's the thing. the defense is going to need to come up big. You're asking a lot out of this 49ers defensive group. They have played hard. They're young. They're learning. I think it's going to help them in the long run. If they can come up with their best game, then I think you got a shot. They lost Bethune, who's taken over for Warner. I just saw that today. He had a torn groin muscle in the game. Ow, geez. That's yeah, okay. Ooh, I think we know. But Tatum Bethune is out for the year, so that'll drop down the depth chart again at an important defensive spot for the Niners. But so it's going to be interesting. That defense is going to go up. You know, the Eagles got 2,000-yard receivers, both very talented guys. Smith and A.J. Brown. You know, Barkley's over 1,000 yards again. He's great. But for some reason, that offense just has not clicked like it has in years past. But still, I think this is going to be – I think the Niners are going to have their hands full. That's just sort of my feeling about it. And I think what happened Saturday night and the physicality of that game and the fact that, you know, the Eagles said, you know what, we're going to rest some guys. I think that could be a big deal in this game. I really do. So we'll see. We'll see if the Niners can pull it off. Sunday, 1:30 kickoff from Philadelphia. So that's where the Niners are at. It's been an exciting year. I think they've proven a lot with all the injuries. Coaching has been terrific, and they're gonna have to go. It's gonna be go time in Philadelphia, and we'll see. We'll see if we can pull it off. So, anyways, so that's what's going on there. Other first-round matchups: the Rams at the Panthers in the NFC. That's Saturday at 1:30. So that'll be the first playoff game that we see. Rams are at a 5 seed. Panthers win the NFC South with a losing record of 8-9. I like the Rams. I like the Rams a lot. I think they're really good. I don't know what you guys feel about that, but boy, they score a ton of points. They're going to get Devontae Adams back. He's been out with a hamstring for a couple weeks, but he'll be back. That's a huge deal. Stafford's playing like an MVP. In fact, the Rams are 10.5-point favorites. I saw that today for a road game in the postseason. I bet that hasn't happened a lot. Think about that. A road playoff game where the road team is 10.5-point favorite at Carolina. But Rams are pretty good. Their defense is pretty good, and you got the two great receivers. So I could see the Rams. I'd be surprised if the Rams were to go down there and lay an egg. I think they'll go down there and beat the Panthers. Rams, I mean, that's a little bit of a scary team to me. The other NFC game, Packers at Bears. That's interesting. Saturday at 5:00. Packers are the 7th seed. Bears are the 2 seed. Third time in the last 5 weeks that these two teams are going to play. Think about it. That's pretty cool if you think about it, because obviously it's a big rivalry, longest running rivalry in the NFL. And here they're going to play 3 times in 5 weeks, with the third time obviously being in the postseason. That'll be a fun game to watch. Packers are scuffling. They've lost 4 in a row. The Bears not playing great, 2-3 in their last 5 games. Remember, early December, the Packers won the game at Lambeau Field against Chicago. And then a couple weeks later in Chicago, the Packers dominated the game for 58 minutes, literally. They were up 13-3 with 2 minutes left. And somehow it was a complete collapse. The Bears came back and they won the game in overtime. So, that was, I think, put it this way. If the Packers field an onside kick, they win the game, believe it or not. When was the last time you saw a flubbed onside kick? Well, that's what happened, and that allowed the Bears to win the game. So they played 2 crazy games. Interesting here, too. The Packers, who were 7th seed, they weren't going anywhere. They were locked into 7. They rested a whole bunch of players. I don't have the exact count, but it was at least 8 or 9 guys banged up. They rested them all. Jordan Love rested. Whereas the Bears, again, they played everybody. A very physical game against the Lions, and the Lions beat the Bears. Okay, so does that come into play like we talked about with the Niners and the Eagles? I don't know. It's possible. The I think the Packers big time needed the rest. They got a lot of good players that are banged up, but if they got an extra week there, that could help them. I think this is going to be a terrific game, but I would not be surprised if the Packers went there and won, because they've really they've played well against the Bears, except for a 2-minute collapse that cost them the second game. So anyways, that'll be fun. Good games, really good games in the NFC. And then in the AFC, Bills at the Jaguars. That's Sunday at 10 o'clock. Bills are the 6th seed. Jags are the 3 seed. Chargers at the Patriots, Sunday at 5 o'clock. Chargers 7. Patriots are the 2nd seed. And then on Monday, the only game Monday night will be the Texans at the Steelers. So the Steelers won that game over the Ravens last night. That got him the AFC North. So they will host the 5th seed Texans. So that's the playoff picture. That's the first round matchups in the NFL playoffs, which are awesome. Can't wait. Excited. And I'm going to try to watch as many as I can. But again, the big one, Niners at the Eagles, Sunday at 1:30 here in the Bay Area. So that's the NFL playoff picture. And let's wrap this up with what is going on with the NFL head coaches. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but during the season, we saw the Titans fire Brian Callahan, their head coach, and we saw the Giants fire Brian DeBoll, their head coach. So 2 coaches got fired during the season. Today, 4 more got fired. Okay, does anything jump out at you? Falcons fired Raheem Morris. Browns fired Kevin Stefanski. The Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon. And last but certainly not least, the Las Vegas Raiders fired Pete Carroll after 1 year. So there are 6 openings for NFL head coaching jobs. Who's going to get them? Who knows? Who knows? But this always happens this time of year. 6 it's not that large of a number. There's been years where there's been more, but right now 6 head coach openings in the NFL. And to finish on the Raiders, a couple interesting notes there. So they fired Pete Carroll after 1 year, and that's kind of one of the issues with the Raiders. There's no continuity. I think at the NFL level, you need front office continuity with the head coach. The good teams have it. You see it. You see it all the time. The Raiders just cannot figure it out. From 2021 to 2025 this year, that's a 5-year period. It's been John Gruden, John McDaniels, Antonio Pierce, and Pete Carroll. That's 4 coaches in a 5-year stretch. That's not good. That's not good. It's hard to get anything going. What do the Raiders have going for them? They secured the number 1 pick in the NFL draft here in 2026. They will pick first. The Jets will pick second. But think about this. The last time the Raiders had the number 1 pick in the draft was 2007, and they took Jamarcus Russell. So they'll need to do better this year with the number 1 pick. So that's some of the goodies going on in the NFL. Fun stuff as always. But I hope you've enjoyed my NFL segments this year. Just kicking some stuff around. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. I want to give you an update on the rest of the week. Wednesday, we'll have a 6 o'clock show, and it's going to be our bi-monthly NIL show. We had one in December. Remember, kind of money in college sports. Had a lot of fun talking about that. We're going to have another show on that. Very interesting. Got a couple great guests which you want to join us for that. That's Wednesday at 6. And then on Friday, Cody Ballou is going to join us. Cody is from the Even Year Dynasty podcast. He does a great job. I mean, he covers the Giants extremely well, knows their minor league system in and out. We've had Cody on before, and he's going to join me Friday at 8 o'clock. And we'll cover Giants big time. So looking forward to talking with Cody on Friday at 8. And then again on Wednesday, our bi-monthly NIL show will come your way at 6 o'clock. So that's what's going on the rest of this week. And we'll try to do a show, maybe 2 if I can, from the Giants fantasy camp down in Scottsdale, Arizona at Scottsdale Stadium. I get to be at Scottsdale Stadium for a whole week next week. I'm pretty doggone excited about that. So hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Remember, keep on subscribing. Our subscriptions are going crazy. We're closing in on 13,000. And we're going to have a great 2026. You guys have been awesome this year, helping me get this thing going. I don't know how to thank you enough. Thank you guys and my sponsors. But we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it growing, and we will have the Giants covered big time. Can't wait for the season to start. Can't wait for spring training to start with. So all good stuff, and we certainly appreciate everybody hanging in there with our first year of shows with the Glen Kuiper Show in 2026 is going to be very, very good. All right, let's check in with our sponsors one more time, starting with Tilden Properties, Bay Area-based and family-owned. If you invest with Tilden Properties, you'll be building investment wealth for yourself. Tilden Properties does that. They take care of their investors big time. Call for more information, tildenproperties.com, 925-209-8558. They've been doing this since 2008. We're also brought to you by the Carrig Real Estate Team. Contact Mike Carrig today for a free home sale or purchase consultation. You can call them at 925-548-4132. They have been helping families buy or sell homes since 1978. That is the Carrig Real Estate Team. And we're brought to you by Partners Capital LLC, with experience guiding professional athletes as well as good folks and good neighbors right next door. Partners Capital delivers thoughtful planning, steady guidance, and a clear path forward. Partners Capital, your partner for a stronger financial future. Call them for more information at 1-888-702-7743. That's it for tonight's show. We'll see you Wednesday night again at 6 o'clock, and then Friday at 8 o'clock as we cover the world of sports, specifically the San Francisco Giants. Thanks for joining me tonight, everybody, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good one.